Run it. This one the hit, yo. Lady Sarojini. Bless up everyone. This is Chad and Ben from Jamaica here representing for the host, Lady Sarojini with the Caribbean Connection Show. Hey, Panwa 93.5 FM CHMR 11. That's a pardon me. I'm a criminal, so get on your searching. But let me tell you though, if you never know, I'm an island man with an African culture. No drugs, no in my bag. You like a let go, yeah. Oh, no. Your bumper is a magnet. I stick on like a magnet.
Yeah, it's magnetic. Join Sarojini on Caribbean Connections, Thursdays at 1. Walk through the sands with poetry from our great leaders and academics. Jive with us to soca, reggae, chutney, and calypso. Get your current cricket results, meet special guests, and more. Every Thursday, 11:30 Eastern, 1 p.m. Newfoundland time.
When we dancing, hey, you are my king, I'm your queen. We don't let nobody in between.
Live from Toronto, this is DJ Eruption. You're listening to Sarojini from Caribbean Connections. Peace out.
Then you hold my bumper and grind slow, deep in.
Hello, and welcome to Caribbean Connections. We have a wonderful program in store for you today. As all of you know, today is the start, this month is the start for Black History Month. And here at Caribbean Connections, we will be celebrating our 4th year of Black History Month here for the month of February. And I am just so thrilled to let y'all know my good friend and radio host here also at CHMR, Ikechukwe, who is the host of One Africa, will be co-hosting with me for the month of February. So here's the plan and here's the thing. Usually Caribbean Connection goes for 2 hours every Thursday from 1 to 3 o'clock Newfoundland time, 11:30 to 1:30 Eastern. So I will be hosting the first hour with my guest and lots of great shows for the entire month. And Ikechukwe will be doing the second hour with his wonderful guests. So I hope you all will continue to join us for the rest of February. And without further ado, we're going to kick off this great month of Black History Month. Good afternoon, and welcome to all of you here on Caribbean Connections on this glorious Thursday. And we have a very special guest in the studio with us today, the one and only Jay Hart. But before we get into all the details and Jay's journey, I want to thank you all for listening here far and wide on the island of Newfoundland and Labrador in Toronto, in Regina, Saskatoon, Calgary, Vancouver, and crossing over to New York, Connecticut, Washington, D.C., and we go again to Berlin, Germany, New Delhi, India, and the Netherlands. And of course, big up to all of you listening in the Caribbean, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia, Belize, and no other than Jamaica, where of course Jay is from. And we're going to get into all of this, and not forgetting our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and Kenya. Welcome to all of you, and namaste. I just want to introduce Jay, but we're going to get in further with him. Jay Hart is a multi-instrumentalist, a singer and songwriter, and a producer. Newfoundland and Labrador based, but originally from Jamaica. He composes R&B and soul primarily, but his music influences vary from pop, hip hop, reggae, dancehall, gospel, and Afrobeat.
She's beauty by design, but it's this level because I can't decide. Gotta be more than you, the body, pretty face and smiles, yeah. Let me dive in and see inside your mind, inside your mind. Feeling butterflies, bright as I got me ready to roll the dice. Gotta be more than you, the body, pretty face and smiles, yeah. Let me dive in and see inside your mind, inside your mind. I need to draw closer to your mind, think to your soul. Don't worry about the physical, think beyond the typical. Cause I need more to be committed. I could hold you down, baby, let me hold you down. It's not about your flaws, let me see behind the scars. If one thing is for certain, girl, ain't nobody perfect. So don't you hide behind the filters, embrace the imperfections. I can't wait, cause baby, if there is a chance, I'm gon' take it. At times I wonder, could you be my soulmate? Baby, please don't lose faith in us. I beg you, don't you lose faith. She's beauty by design, but it's this level because I can't decide. Gotta be more than you, the body, pretty face and smiles, yeah. Let me dive in and see inside your mind, inside your mind. Feeling butterflies, bright as I got me ready to roll the dice. Gotta be more than you, the body, pretty face and smiles, yeah. Let me dive in and see inside your mind, inside your mind. Not sure if I'm in love with you, or just the thought of you. How do you even measure love? I just hate feeling so numb, so numb. Maybe I could hold you down, baby, let me hold you down. It's not about your flaws, wanna see behind the scars. If one thing is for certain, girl, ain't nobody perfect. So don't you hide behind them filters, embrace the imperfections. I can't wait, cause baby, if there is a chance, I'm gon' take it. At times I wonder, could you be my soulmate? Baby, please don't lose faith in us. I beg you, don't you lose faith. She's beauty by design, but it's this level because I can't decide. Feeling butterflies, bright as I got me ready to roll the dice. Gotta be pretty face and smiles, yeah. Let me dive in and see inside your mind, inside your mind.
Opening up today's segment, we just heard Models IG by Jay Hart. So Jay, before we get into the meats and bones here, tell us a little bit about this track Models that we just heard.
Yeah, so thank you for having me first and foremost. Big up to Caribbean Connections for having me on the platform. IG Models, the track was produced by one of my good friends, Noah Hamilton. And the track is about I guess the current dilemma that we have with how social media has influenced kind of the beauty standard for a lot of women, right? And I feel like when I'm looking, it's a song about it's an internal dialogue, a conversation that I'm having with myself. I'm trying to find my partner or a partner in crime, my significant other, but the process into going about doing that is, a lot of these women want to meet, kind of unrealistic beauty standards, and it kind of, it's kind of affecting how I'm trying to, go about navigating that. So the song essentially just all about me saying that, like, I need to know more about what's inside of your brain. I need to know kind of like what's like how you're feeling, your emotions on an intellectual level before I can like really connect with you. Because yes, like there's a lot of girls that are very beautiful on the outward appearance, but then they have nothing to offer. So that's basically what the song is about. It's me saying, okay, I know that you're beautiful. I know that, I know all these things, but what is kind of inside your brain. So it's just it's making a comparison, or it's a metaphorical comparison to IG models, because there's a beauty standard with IG models, the filters, the always looking good 24/7. And it's not realistic, if you don't have like makeup, they feel like if you don't have makeup on every single second or minute of the day, they're not beautiful and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, bring down the walls. It's okay to not be glammed up all the time. You don't have to necessarily fit into these beauty standards to really get my attention. I have to see past that to connect with
absolutely. And it's such a beautiful track, like very well arranged and produced. Thank you. But we're going to be hearing a couple more of your tracks later on in the program, but we're going to start at the beginning. And I know our listeners want to know a little bit more about you before we get into your studies and your journey and your music. So let's start at the beginning. My favorite question. You were actually born in West Jamaica in an area called Westmoreland, right?
Yes.
Your parents actually were both missionaries. So I want you to give us an insight into your life growing up in Jamaica with a family, mom and dad, missionaries, and you all being a very strong, tightly knit family. To give us some insight into that.
Sure. So yes, my parents are originally from Haiti, actually. And they came to Jamaica to, pursue their missionary dreams and work. My sister is actually from Guyana. So, we have all of that, and then I'm from Jamaica. So, there's a lot of diversity within the family itself. Growing up in Jamaica was pretty simple times back then, none of the COVID and all of that was going on at the time. So much simpler times, it was a very, it's what got me immersed in music in the first place. It was a very vibrant musical culture, obviously in the church, music is, everybody that comes from the church, that music is a very important aspect of
absolutely.
In the church, especially
I think that's not to interrupt you, but I think that's pretty well universal, right?
Yeah.
Music and the church, yes.
Yeah. So Pentecostal, especially the jumping up, the dancing about, so that type of vibe is there. So from the very get-go, I was very drawn to music. From that end, just being a part of the church and growing up there. So yeah, for majority of my life, even to this day, I'm still connected, with the church. So it's a very strong like musical community, and like that's how I got immersed in music in the first place, just being a part of that. So growing up, it was all about music, it was all about community, it was all about culture. I got exposed to different cultures, just moving from east, and going to the west, there was a different culture there, and north there's a different culture, south there's a different culture. So that was the main thing for me growing up, the culture and the music.
Did you, your parents did a lot of missionary work for several years, and did you find it advantageous in developing your music and enhancing your schooling, moving around with them?
The schooling wasn't advantageous. The schooling, it's a certain thing where, because I used to move so frequently, I would kind of move between different schooling systems, right? And that's not helpful when you're developing and you're learning. So on the academic front, it wasn't always a good thing, but it was good the adjusting or adapting to different things was easier. So you learn that at a young age to learn how to adjust, adaptability. So I think that's what I learned the most from it. But in terms of academically, it's not ideal. I wouldn't recommend everyone to go have their kids move to 5 different schools or whatever, it's just not advantageous. But in terms of I don't know if you said the music part or was it culture, or what was the other aspect?
The question you mean?
Yeah.
Just overall advantageous in the music, in the sense that your creativity, going from different places and seeing the culture and hearing the music and maybe integrating that into your music.
Yeah. So the music definitely was advantageous because there's different playing styles, there's different musical cultures just going back and forth from place to place. So I feel like one aspect, the calypso from the Trinidad side, they have, the reggae, the Jamaican side. You go to North America, they have the more tasteful playing, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cultures that I was immersed with musically. So definitely helped me grow as a musician on that end.
Absolutely. And when you and I were talking earlier, you mentioned that your interest in music began at a very young age, the tender age of 2. I mean,
Yes.
some kids are still in diapers, and here you are just getting into the groove, right?
Yeah,
And actually, you even started playing drums in the church then.
yeah.
What do you think spawned your interest in music and playing the drums at such a young, tender age?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember much of it, but there's the tales and the stories, so I know about it from that. But essentially, I grew up in the church, obviously, and I was always fascinated by the rhythm, how the rhythm made people move. I felt like when there was no drums present, the vibe would lack. Like it felt like something was missing growing up. So I would always watch the drummer, even at a tender age. I would always watch the drummer play. My mom used to tell me that when I was in the belly, I used to go to the rhythm of the beat in her stomach when I was playing. So there's something there too.
Oh.
So music was the rhythm of it was something I was always fascinated by. So I would always watch the drummer. He was an old guy at the time, and I would just watch him focus on that part. All the other instrumentation didn't really matter as much to me. I was just very fascinated with the drums. And one day, he was an older guy, so he got sick and he couldn't make it. But he's usually there every Sunday routinely. But he was getting of age, so he couldn't make it every Sunday. And there was a few Sundays where there was just no drum, the groove was lacking. And so one day I just said, let me get up and, provide what was lacking and play the drums. And at first I was so small that, no one could see who was playing. So they were kind of like, who's that? Like, is it God? Like who's behind there? And then obviously lo and behold, I was there. So
wow.
That's the tale. That's the tale there. So, very interesting story.
Oh my goodness. And was it only 2 you were at the time?
Yeah.
Or a little,
yeah, 2.
Oh my goodness, Jay, that is incredible. And I know everybody must have been so taken aback by your skill and talent. In fact, your entire family is musical from what you had told me, your mom, your dad, your sister as well, correct?
Yep. Yeah, so my mom sings, my sister sings, and she plays brass. She plays the first and second trumpet or cornet, whatever you want to call it. And my dad is a multi-instrumentalist. He actually plays the bass, he plays the piano, he plays the guitar, and he plays brass too. So I guess my father has the more multi-instrumentalist connection there, because he plays a lot. And growing up as a kid, I think he used to play in bands and stuff before he became a missionary. That was his gig before. So yeah, I would say we're pretty musical.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned your mom was very encouraging with the music. She really wanted you to get into that, right?
Yeah, so I was playing drums for a while, a number of years, and I guess she sensed the lack of motivation or inspiration on that front. So she kind of, I wanted to play actually I wanted to play brass for a long while. Like I wanted to be a part of the band, but I was like not the only, but like I was needed on the drums. So every time I tried to make the transition into playing other instruments, it would not work out as intended. So I kind of got frustrated that I wasn't able to pick up the instruments that I wanted to pick up. I would practice it here and there, but when I found out that I wouldn't be playing with the group, not just by myself practicing, I kind of lost motivation. So my mom encouraged me to pick up other instruments, and when I moved to Belize a lot later on, she gave me a little bit of guitar lessons for a couple months. It was maybe a month before I stopped, and that's kind of where I got picked up songwriting and interest for singing again and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because you said you dabbled with the trumpet, the piano, the guitar, and you were still quite young when you were doing all of this. You were not quite a teenager yet, were you, when you started?
So I was probably a youth when I was trying to pick up the trumpet or brass.
Yeah.
I was pretty young, but I'd say I was in my teens when I picked up the guitar and other instrumentations. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still play all these instruments?
Yeah, I can hold my own.
Yeah.
I can play for the purpose of what I need to. I'm not gonna, wow you with impressive going on about, but I can play, for what I need to.
And you actually started writing songs too. So when did you start doing that?
So around 16, 17, the same time I picked up the guitar. I became fascinated with songwriting from listening to like Ed Sheeran and stuff like that. I guess the simplicity of his tracks, but the simplicity of the tracks, like in terms of how it's arranged, the guitar playing, it was easy for a beginner to kind of start there and pick up the guitar. And because it's basic chords, it's easy to sing along. But then when you really break down the track and you kind of dissect the songwriting, I was very interested into, okay, this song is making me feel a certain way, but why do I feel this sort of emotion when I listen to this music and this sort of emotion when I listen to that music? And then it kind of challenged my interest to kind of writing songs that would make other people feel the way that music made me feel, so.
Wow, that's fantastic. In fact, you mentioned, though, just to touch on this, in your high school, it wasn't considered cool to belong to choirs or any sort of musical group. And for the lack of a better word, some people were looking down upon people who, say, didn't play soccer, or we say football in the Caribbean, or cricket or rugby or something. Those were great games, but choirs, not so cool. So how did you manage? Because of course you love music and you wanted to sing more.
Yeah. So I would say I was around maybe 11, and I was doing music for a long time, but I'd say when I realized the downplay of how, like people kind of deter you from trying to pursue musical dreams, was around high school. I was probably like 10, 11, around there. And I went to I was going to an all-boys school at the time. And of course, with the all-boys school system, sports is very much glorified, trying to be the best at, say, for instance, football or cricket, or, they didn't have basketball at the time, but that slowly developed and, they kind of got there. But I always loved singing at the time. I had a very high voice, a very squeaky voice at the time. So, it was impressive to most because it was so high and so delicate. So, I always loved singing. I always had solos in choirs at my church and stuff like that. And so I was like, why not extend it here? It's something I love to do. So why not do it in the, school system? I didn't know the culture around it as yet at the time. I just pursued it just because of the enticement behind it. I just wanted to do music. So I would go up to the music room and it was always barren, always dry. Like no one would go there. No one would hang out there. And was a certain narrative, the choirs that were there, it was like, oh, like only maybe gay people go to choirs and sing and stuff like that. That was kind of narrative for a long time. And so I kind of was like, all right, well, I want to sing. And like whatever the narrative is, this is what I want to do. So, as long as I'm comfortable in myself and I know, what I'm doing, I'm not really worried about what other people are saying. And there was a lot of disappointment around it when I just started. For a lot of people tried to deter me from doing it. And I was just like, no, this is what I want to do. And eventually the culture started to change when we started winning awards and started doing this and doing that and starting to be more global or national with our craft and music. Then people started to be like, oh, this is actually not a bad thing. But I'd say for the most part, a lot of teachers and personnel would try to detract you from music. They didn't really see it as a real profession. They wanted you to, go the academic road, be lawyers, be doctors, whatever profession, engineers and stuff like that.
Yes,
So,
you mentioned that was another deterrent factor. People back home didn't see music as something that you can pursue as a career. They would rather see you take up careers that would present what we say regular jobs, like in business, computers, which you ended up studying, and medicine, law, nursing, or whatever. But yet you persevered. You didn't give up in your music. Am I right?
No. That's the thing about it. It's, even if I wanted to go away, every time I feel like I'm going away from the music, there's always something that pulls me back. So, it's just a genuine love for it. I don't think anyone can make you kind of go away from something if you're really, really passionate about it, So I just kept, I did the conventional route to just say, hey, I did everything you guys asked, but now I'm going to do me and I'm going to pursue my dream. So, I went the conventional route, the academic route. I did all the subjects I was supposed to do. I went to that route, and I'm showing a lot of people that you can juggle both. Why not do both? Why not have multiple revenues of income? Why not go that route and then go this route too? You don't have to always stick to one path and make that obsolete. You can branch out into other things. It's a free world. Everything is progressing. So you don't have to do one thing and stick to that.
Absolutely, just kind of sliding into your dreams. And speaking of sliding, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to hear the second track by you. And very fittingly, it's called Sliding. I love all your tracks, but this one really speaks to me with the rhythm and the beat. So I'm going to have you set it up, and then we're going to hear Sliding. Take it away, Jay.
So Sliding is a fun track, one of the fun tracks on the EP timeline. Sliding is just about, having fun with your significant other, going places, kind of doing stuff for each other. So it's a very fun track where, you're not afraid to explore and be adventurous in your relationship, kind of just be spontaneous and adventurous. That's the main motive of Sliding.
All right. So folks, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to hear Sliding by Jay Hart.
I'ma get it how I want it. Catch me dripping like the faucets with my boo. My boo. If I bite it, she gon' fly it. Fashion killer, so erratic. We lighting up the room. It's a vibe, we're sliding through, yeah. You know she my rider, stay down. She all about the glam, yeah, the job life. Shawty bad, she can throw it back, yeah. We stay up, never come down. She don't want no scrubs, steady making move, yeah, it's God's plan. Catch a wave when we sliding, yeah. All about the money, put the work in. Couple racks on the Fendi cause we earned it. I put her money on her body cause she worth it. First class Emirates with the suede finish. But I know how you like it. The funny being indecisive. But baby, you don't have a choice. I'ma get it how I want it. Catch me dripping like the faucets with my boo. My boo. If I bite it, she gon' fly it. Fashion killer, so erratic. We lighting up the room. It's a vibe, we're sliding through, yeah, yeah. Got my attention undivided. You got it, yeah, yeah. You're flawless, no. She got her own back, she ambitious. Stack it up, make additions. Touching in your body, I'ma put you in position. I'ma do right so we can take flight. All about the money, put the work in. Couple ranks on the Fendi cause we earned it. I'ma push Chanel on her body, she deserve it. First class Emirates with the suede finish. But I know how you like it. The funny being indecisive. But baby, you don't have a choice. Get it how I want it. Yeah. Catch me dripping like the faucets. Get it how I want it, want it, want it. Fashion killer, so erratic. Static, yeah. Gotta be ready for the showtime. Gonna be lit up in a go town. Gotta be ready for the showtime. Mixing Henny with the J, it's go time. Gotta be ready for the showtime. Gonna be lit up in a go town. Gotta be ready for the showtime. Richard Mill on my wrist, it's go time. Mixing showtime. Gotta be ready for the showtime. Gonna be lit up in a go town. Gotta be ready for the showtime. Richard Mill on my wrist, it's go time. Mixing showtime. Richard Mill on my wrist, it's go time.
So we're back here. We have in our virtual studio Jay Hart with us, and we're getting into a lot more about Jay. He's a multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, and producer from Jamaica, and his focus mainly is on R&B, soul, and pop. So let's continue on with Jay here, and we're going to move over to Belize, Jay, with your parents' job as missionaries. We mentioned earlier that they moved around a lot. So now they had to move to Belize, and the entire family moved to Belize as well. Tell us how you felt about this move, and were you inspired more with the music of Belize?
So I was excited for the move to go to a different place. I was always excited every time we got a new call to go somewhere. I was always very eager. My sister, not so much, but like me personally, I was very eager to explore a different place and culture. On the musical front, at the time there was a progressive musical culture. It wasn't as immersive. I feel like now there's a lot of strides to get it, to a place where the music is now becoming something that, a lot of local Belizeans are trying to pursue now, right? But at the time when I was there, music was again not so popular. It was sports. Sports was a big thing, basketball, football, softball, whatever it was. Sports was a big culture in the schooling and otherwise. So, I would do different competitions here and there in schools like the music, but it wouldn't get as much traction as somebody winning a championship in sports, if you get what I mean. It was not as celebrated. So I feel like the culture was kind of similar at the sense where they weren't necessarily deterring you from pursuing music, but it's just the culture. It wasn't there at the time. That wasn't the norm to see someone pursuing music. So I feel like I kind of lost a little bit of it kind of became routine. I was probably the only one filling in on different instruments and at the time, so it kind of became mundane and just a routine. I would just do it to do it. And it was at this point my mom kind of intervened and she was like, hey, you need to get off the drums, pick up something else, maybe find your passion back. And that's where I picked up with songwriting. So it was in Belize at that point that I kind of picked up that. Yeah.
Very good. Now, after about 5 years in Belize, you're having a good time, finishing school, doing your songwriting, your music, you decided to come to Canada and specifically to Newfoundland to continue your studies in computer science. And what I learned was it was an easy decision because your sister was already here in Newfoundland and friends were already here. So for you, it made sense. Oh, I'm going to go to Newfoundland as well and continue my studies there. So what were your first impressions of Newfoundland when you arrived? And what time of the year did you come, Jay?
So I think I came, was it August? Yeah. No, I came maybe August or September.
Okay.
One of the two. I don't remember now. It feels like a long time ago. So my first impressions, I pretty much was excited. I was gonna be on my own, and every kid, they want to kind of see what it feels like to navigate on their own a little bit. So that was there for a while. I wanted to see what the journey would be like, going to a new place, of course, I always stated I'm excited to always move somewhere new, explore different cultures. So I was very excited on that front. My first impressions, I honestly didn't really have a pleasant experience because of the traveling that I had to do. Because when I initially came, I went to Deer Lake, I went to Corner Brook, and then the next morning I took the DHL back, the bus, the 10-hour bus ride back to St. John. So that was literally my first experience. You know, most people's experience, they go on the plane, they fly to Newfoundland, the airport, St. John's Airport, and then they just go to MUN, right? So I had a whirlwind of traveling that I had to do. I was traveling for like probably about 3-4 days. So I was very tired, very exhausted. So first impression, nothing, no fault of Newfoundland. I was just tired and drained from the travel itself. But I felt like it was a very easygoing place. The people were friendly, the people were encouraging. So you know, that was my initial reaction of St. John's.
And I mean, you came during 2 of our better months of the year. Like August is pretty good here. They always say the summer goes on till October, and September is pretty good too. I mean, not like Jamaica, not 30 degrees and 32 with warm winds from sandy beaches, but still warm enough, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was good weather. I didn't really have a bad experience with the weather in general, even with the winter that first year. I feel like the weather was pretty good that entire year. So yeah, definitely good weather.
And you actually came in 2017.
Yes.
Right. Okay. You mentioned actually when you lived in Jamaica, you know, you may not have said these words, but there were some negative connotations about being the children of missionaries, meaning that you can't socialize too much. And if you're fine socializing, people talk, you know, or you have to be more reserved, do the right things, the proper things all the time. And if you divert from these, then as they say, people start talking and gossiping because you're the son of missionaries. You have to be the perfect guy. Did you find that this was a lot of pressure put on you?
I mean, in the beginning, yes. Kind of earlier on, you know, you try to be, because you know what you do is a reflection of your parents, right? And so you knew that was the case. So it wasn't even something where, like, I didn't really care what people thought about how I'm acting. I just knew that if I acted a certain way, it would be a reflection of, you know, kind of what they think about my parents or how they're raising me. Even if they were raising me perfectly fine and everything was good, whatever I do is going to be a reflection of what they do. So definitely I growing up, I kind of kept a keen eye on it throughout, you know, growing up, not to necessarily be perfect, because I definitely wasn't, but I did try to take the higher road in most cases, because I just knew that it would affect, you know, it would affect things more bigger. You know, there's no room for that. And sadly, you know, the culture is there, you know, when you have somebody like a pastor or something, everyone expects them to be perfect and not mess up. So, you know, there's the same treatment that I got. You know, you're the kid, you're a pastor's kid, you're supposed to be perfect and stuff like that. As I grew older, people wouldn't even know that I was like missionaries, but by the way I acted, people were like, oh, like I didn't know that. Like, you didn't tell me that. I didn't know that, because I just started to live a little more. I was normal, you know, I was a normal kid. Until someone asked, then they would find out that, oh yeah, you're a missionary. And they were kind of appalled, but they wouldn't know anything. I blended in just fine. I was always, again, adaptability. Everywhere I went, I knew how to adapt to that environment, you know. So
Oh, very good, Jay. That's really good to hear. I mean, some people succumb to the pressure and they go the other way and they get into the wrong things, the wrong group of friends, the wrong lifestyle. And in some cases, it can be very devastating. So I commend you for sticking your ground. And as you said, taking the higher road. That's awesome. You missed your family, you told me. And after 2 years, you went back to Jamaica in 2019. So how did you feel after this hiatus or a time away from Jamaica and then going back? What emotions were evoked within you when you went back after 2 years?
So I went back to Belize actually. Not I didn't go to Jamaica, but
Okay,
Belize,
sorry.
yeah, because my parents were still in Belize at the time. So that's
Okay.
kind of where I would go wherever they were. So if they were in Jamaica, I'd go to Jamaica. If they were, in Belize, I'd go there. So after missing such a long time away, it was very refreshing. I kind of it was very difficult, family is important, and not having the communication or not being able to communicate as you used to versus when you're there every time. No matter how much we moved, we were always with each other or around each other. So it was kind of it was challenging, but going back was very refreshing, and it was a nice little time. I think I took 2 months or a month and a half maybe, and I was there before I came back up here and kind of worked for the summer. But yeah, it was a good break. I got to see some friends again, and I got to enjoy the weather a little bit, and etc etc. So it was a good refresher with my family. I got to see my sister and my mom and dad, so it was good.
Good to hear, and I'm sure your mom and dad were happy to have you back, no matter how short a time.
Yes, for sure.
And when you were not visiting, say, Belize or Jamaica, wherever you would go, where they are, did you work in Newfoundland? Did you continue your music, continue your studies? What did you do for your interest here as an international student?
Yeah, so in the summer, I worked as a counselor. So with the Salvation Army, so still in the Christian. What my parents did, they were missionaries of the Salvation Army. So again, even when I came here, I still kept in touch with that community, because it was engraved. It was a good culture. Everywhere I go, the Salvation Army is always welcoming, and it's always a good thing to be a part of. And so I kind of did counseling work where there's for the summer, the kids camp. I was a camp counselor for that. So I did that almost every summer until maybe 2020. And obviously at that point I was kind of in the end of my career, so I had to think of the future and what my goals were in terms of thinking career wise, what I was going to do on that end. But I would work as a camp counselor every summer during the summers.
Oh, that's fantastic, Jay. So, of course, music always stayed a big part of your life. And you mentioned your influences came from hip hop, pop, R&B, reggae, dancehall, gospel, and Afrobeats. Oh my gosh, Jay, that's quite a genre of musical selections. That's fantastic. Should I ask you this? Do you have a favorite genre from the ones
easily.
I listed, or?
Yep. I'd say R&B for sure.
Yeah.
R&B, out of all the genres, to me feels the emotions are more raw. It feels more authentic, and I can actually feel kind of in touch with the music. I like chill music, very like reflective type of vibe. So definitely, I would say R&B is my favorite, which is kind of why I kind of dove more primarily into that role. R&B for sure.
That's great to hear, Jay. Wow, fantastic. I didn't want to put you on the spot, see? Tell me about the music NL scene here in St. John's and being amongst these talented musicians.
Yeah, the culture here is it's very much more of a very live instrumentations, very folky, very band, rock, stuff like that. So when I used to go kind of gigging and stuff like that, that's the most of the music I saw being played, rock or acoustic or folk or stuff like that. So it's a very good culture where musicians know their stuff, they know how to play, they know their instruments in and out, they're more authentic with the music, same thing, songwriting, they're more in tune with that aspect of it, writing good lyrics, finding good melodies, good song structure, arrangement, etc., etc. So definitely when I came here, I was very much impressed by just the way musicians navigated and how well they knew their instruments and how well they were able to play and express themselves on their instruments, you know, whether vocally or, you know, with a bass or a piano or a guitar, etc. So
yeah, we've got some excellent talent in St. John's, and I mean, people don't realize it until you go out and listen. But unfortunately, with this pandemic that we're in, coming on to like 3 years now, unfortunately, a lot of people are not performing. So you're either not going or trying to get yourself and your foot in the door, you know. So I do wish you the best in this aspect. But I know you've been dabbling in music production for quite some time now. So tell us how this is going for you and what are some of the challenges you're facing in music production?
yeah, so again, you know, as I said, you know, trying to find multiple lanes and not, you know, feeling like you're restricted, you know. So yes, you know, I kind of want to be an artist and I want to express myself through my songwriting. But at the same time, I want to actually create, you know, what I want to express. Is kind of why I went into production in the first place. I did it in 2017 was when I started. 2017, and the reason why I started in the first place was because I just didn't have the luxury of, you know, going to a friend or hitting up someone to just be like, oh, you know, sit with me and create a beat for me and, you know, have the song. You know, a lot of things in the music industry, because it's such an underpaid community, time is money, right? So if a lot of people are doing a service for you, they're going to want to be paid for that service. If they're making a beat for you, they're going to want to be paid. If they're, you know, doing something for you at all, it's a community where, you know, time is money. So that was kind of my initial struggles. Obviously, I'm a student. I didn't have $500 and above to dole out on just production when I didn't even know what my sound or found myself yet. So at first I did it just out of curiosity. I always thought about it, but I thought it was very complex. I thought it was above my reach, out of my reach, to something that I couldn't be able to do. And I started to see just some videos of producers who would just, you know, show how a certain song was made, kind of deconstruct their songs. And I was like, oh, you know, like I actually can do this. I always think about this all the time. So why not start? So 2017, I bought a little piano. It's like a small piano about this size. And I already had a laptop. So I bought the software called Ableton. And I just would, you know, I was with my sister for the Christmas in December, and I feel like the whole trip I would just, you know, try to make beats. They were trash, they were horrible, but at least, you know, it was a start, and I was able to get my creative ideas out there and kind of find my way. But you know, the production itself was very up and down. It's very frustrating, but it's very, you know, satisfying at the same time. It's a continuous up and down journey. You know, sometimes you feel like the stuff that you're making is insignificant, and then sometimes you feel like, okay, you know, this is the best thing I've ever made. So it's really a balance. It's really something where you got to be mentally intact. It's one of those things where you're using a lot of mental power, and you have to be in a mentally good space to create and create effectively. So yeah, mental health definitely important.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, you touched on a very pivotal point there, mental health and the pandemic. You know, we've heard a lot of stories with people's mental health in crisis because of such a big change in their lives. And many people are turning to music, meditation. They're finding ways to reconnect to nature to get themselves through it. So how do you feel the pandemic has affected your life? And feel free to talk what you want personally or with your school or music. I'll put it out there to you.
Musically, it was honestly, I know I'm gonna probably get a lot of maybe backlash for this, but it's honestly the best thing that happened to me in terms of musically, because at first there was a lot of times that, like, when you're always on the move, you have to go to class in the morning, you have to do this, you have to do that, you're always up and down. Sometimes you don't find the time, or you don't make the time rather, to you know, kind of creatively do what you want to do. The time is there. We didn't lose time. we just were more isolated. So we had to, do things. We were more at home and stuff like that. So, when you could go outside, you might be busy this weekend, you might go here, you might go there. So I didn't really make the time for music, or I felt like I didn't have enough time in the day to pursue music. And the pandemic happened, and at first it was rough. I kind of was thinking about it the wrong way, but it was a perception thing. I changed my perception about it. Instead of saying, oh, the pandemic, like, man, it's messed up everything for me. I was supposed to do this, I was supposed to do that. I had this, I had that to do. I kind of looked at it, okay, well, now I have all this free time on my hands. If I don't create, the fault is mine now. If I'm not able to get myself to improve my craft with all this free time where I'm just literally in the house, and the only thing I can do is eat, sleep, and watch Netflix, or there's not a lot of things you can do when you're kind of stuck at home. So I took the time to say, okay, well, it's now or never. I'm like, I have to level up in production, in songwriting, in whatever it is I was supposed to do. So I kind of took production to a next level. I put the hours, the what do you call it, 10,000 hours theory. I was putting a lot of work in that aspect, and then I started to pursue songwriting, because what happened during the pandemic, a lot of people are accustomed when they're making music to having the artist or the songwriter in the studio creating in the session. And so what sort of happened, a lot of people with the pandemic were starting to reach out to songwriters virtually to kind of help write songs and stuff like that. So again, I got another big break in that aspect. I got a lot of opportunities to work with local and international artists and write songs and create. So I looked at it as a good thing. I mean, obviously now it's kind of annoying that it's still here and all of that. But really, I took the pandemic to really improve myself in all my aspects that I wanted to improve.
Oh, absolutely. And, you made a good point there at the beginning. I think nobody predicted this would go on for
so
3
long.
years and all. And, we took advantage and we made the most out of it. And like you said, we honed our skills and we wrote music and poetry and connected with nature. And then here we are in 2022, maybe into 2023, and we're like, what now? I've done what I'm supposed to do. So kudos to you for making good use of a bad situation, as they say.
Sure.
Jay, I mean, with respect to your time and all of this, I don't want to keep you too long, and we're almost to the end, but I would say from everything we've talked about, and there's always the young generation listening and looking for advice, to the older, when I say older folks, I don't mean someone in their 70s only, even though they're great musicians out there, older, but for the younger generation, then looking up to you, what is the takeaway, and what would be some words of advice and wisdom to them who want to come into the business here, the music business?
Start early, just start. There's sometimes the mental barrier that prevents you from doing what you want to do, because you think there's a block that's not there. It's just you thinking or envisioning that there might be a block. Similarly for me, before I started producing, I always thought it was hard, but I never tried it. So how would I know until I tried it? So I would say start early. If there's a passion or a skill or something that you feel like you have an advantage that's advantageous to you, start early. Put in the time, put in the hours. It might sound very cliche, and I really didn't understand this until it happened to me, but I would always hear people say, put in the hours, put in the time, work hard. And I was like, yeah. Obviously, you got to work hard, you got to put in the time. But what does that mean for someone like me? Like, I don't even know where to start. So for me, YouTube is the biggest help. It probably helped me to do a lot of things, so start early. If there's something, the web, if there's questions that you have, or a mental block in starting your dreams or starting early, just Google it, just YouTube it, find resources, maybe link up with somebody who's in that field, reach out to people, networking. I feel like that's a very important thing. So, and prioritize your mental health as well, for sure.
Oh, absolutely, Jay. Well said, well put. I couldn't have said it better. So, hey, I want to thank you so much for your time, Jay. It was such a pleasure having you on Caribbean Connections. And we
Thank
want
you
to
very
wish
much.
you well, all the best in your endeavors. You're a recent graduate of Memorial University in
Yes.
computer science. So I wish you well in that career.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
also in your music, we can't forget that. And I want to let you know too that you are our first guest this year for Black History Month for this month of
Oh,
February.
wow.
So
Wow.
I've given you the honor to do that. So
Thank you very much.
thank you for that. And we're gonna hear one more of your track called Low Key. So I want you to set it up, tell us a bit about it, and then we're gonna hear Low Key. Take it away, Jay. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Low Key is a very simple track. It's about being more private with, you know, your relationships and what you're doing. It could be applied to relationship, it could be applied to life, but it was about more relationship, you know, just kind of not publicizing every little struggle and every little thing that's going on. Sometimes those, when you put something on the internet, it doesn't go away. It's there forever, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes involving outward or involving other people's opinion into your relationship might kind of distract, you know, what's going on at the same time. So, you know, kind of remaining very private when you can, and, you know, celebrating public things when you can, but, you know, kind of having that private relationship with your significant other, and, you know, cherishing
Mhm.
the moments you spend together and stuff like that.
All right, that's fantastic. Well, Jay, thank you for hanging out with us today. I really appreciate it, and we had a blast. I hope you
Thank
did
you.
too.
Yes, 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 for sure, for sure. We
So,
should do
and
it again.
thank you. Oh, sorry, Jay, I didn't hear you.
No, I said we should do it again for sure. I enjoy
Oh,
my time.
absolutely. Look,
Yep.
man, I mean, we need to have everybody know about the talent here in St. John's. And that's what I like to do. That's what I really want to do on this program. And the team here, you know, we take pride in doing that. So I want to thank you for your time. And I really did enjoy it. And here we are. We're going to have you and your song take us out today. And here we are with Low Key. Bye for now.
But the blind side, cause they don't understand, and they be acting like they really even give a damn. You know the road to love is steep. We ain't deep, rain independently. Let's make a leap. Ain't got nothing for us to lose. Don't need to prove everything we do. Yeah, just as long as we're making moves, everything will work out for us. Baby got me hooked like a drug. She got me obstruct, only wanna corrupt. And that's where the trust. Once we keep it apart, you was trying to love, leave them dead in the dust, yeah. Let's float away somewhere in outer space. They won't find us. Negative energy, we leave it all behind us. Moments like this, baby, I can feel this energy. You make me believe you were sent to me for a reason. There's no guarantee of infinity, but I wanna be together. Love won't mislead if we keep this on the low key, low key. Never wasted each moment so precious. Your friends always hating, trying to bring us down, but we in the clouds, the room to grow. In time will glow, just keep things on the low. I will be your right, my love. Baby got me hooked like a drug. She got me obstruct, only wanna corrupt. And that's where the trust. Once we keep it apart, you was trying to love, leave them dead in the dust, yeah. Let's float away somewhere in outer space. They won't find us. Negative energy, we leave it all behind us. Moments like this, baby, I can feel this energy. You make me believe you were sent to me for a reason. There's no guarantee of infinity, but I wanna be together. Love won't mislead if we keep this on the low
Hello and welcome to the One Africa Show. My name is Ikechukwe. Here with me today is Winifred Owoka. She is the CEO of Signage Clothing and Crafts, and she specializes in producing authentic African print crafts, and that includes fashionable dresses, exotic bags, and jewels, to name a few. Her unique works and talent has drawn the attention of local residents in Newfoundland and Labrador, where she sells her craft. Her numerous works has been on sale at various market fairs in the vast parts of the province, and I have to say this is where she lives too. We right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm with Winifred Owoka. For Winifred, who is also an accountant, signage, clothing, and crafts is her passion. She is happily married and blessed with wonderful kids. Winifred Owoka, welcome to the One Africa Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, I have to say, we are doing this interview online, so it's virtual interview. We can't be on the studio. Normally, we would have been on the studio, but because of the COVID, we are not on the studio. So, Mrs. Winifred, I have to say though, you have to speak up a little bit just so that the audience can hear what you're saying. So we'll begin this interview today here with the CEO and CEO of the Signage Crafts and Clothing. Let me begin by saying this, Mrs. Winifred. To someone walking down the road, who is Winifred Owoka? How would you describe yourself?
Winifred Owoka, she's a woman that values God first. I put God first in everything I do. And secondly, I would say I'm a woman that value family. One of the reasons we came here was to bring our home together in a place where our children will learn good culture. So I value family, I value friendship, and I also love to bring out good things out of people. If they have talents, if they have ideas, I encourage people. So that's just my personality. I try to make things look beautiful. I don't let things remain the way it is. I change stories. I help people to change their story. If they have a sad story, I try to bring joy into it. It's just a personality I find. I just can't hold myself. That's what I do. And I try to become a better person every time I see something. I said, how can I make this better? So that's just my personality.
Wow.
That's just all I have to say.
Yeah, that is so nice to hear that, and I'm delighted to have you here. And I hope and I believe our interview today is going to be a very wonderful interview. Now, tell me, how long have you been in the province? Just a few minutes ago, you mentioned about moving to the province. So here in Newfoundland, how long have you been in Newfoundland, and what originally brought you to Newfoundland?
Okay, we got to this province October 2016. My husband actually got admission into Mon Memorial University. So of course, just as I said, I love family to be together. We had to follow him down here to see how it looks like here. So that was what brought us to the province.
So
very far.
Right. So you're from Nigeria. Did you move from Nigeria to Newfoundland? How was the whole process like? How was that?
It's actually not from Nigeria. We actually moved from Norway.
Oh wow! Is it?
Yeah, Stavanger. From Norway down to Canada, Newfoundland. And the same thing, just as I said, it was school. My husband was schooling in Norway. So after his studies, we moved to do his PhD here in Newfoundland.
Right.
So the same thing is school, yeah.
Wow. So what? Just give me a heads up. Your husband, what program is he doing? He must be what is he doing in school?
Actually, he came here to do his PhD here in Mon. He's furthering his engineering program.
Wow.
Here in Mon, yeah.
That's nice. So now moving on to you, Winifred. You are the CEO of Signage Craft, Signage Clothing and Crafts. I believe that's what it's called. So what is this business all about? What is Signage Clothing and Craft all about?
So it's just as I said at the beginning, that I like places where I'm being, as in where I can make impact. Signage Clothing and Crafts, it's using like African fabric to make unlimited ideas, where we make normal day casuals, we make it look exciting with vibrant colors, bringing uniqueness to everyday life. Instead of making it just look dull and normal, it's good to bring excitement into it. So actually, Signage Clothing and Crafts started with all the ideas of putting on African fabric onto church. And people ask me, to workplace, where did you get this from? Where did you get this from? You know, they keep asking me that question. And I said to myself, Newfoundland is home for me. Why not bring my culture here? And I'm welcome here. Why not bring it to share with people who have already welcomed me? So this was how Signage Clothing and Craft started all about.
Wow, that's fantastic. So that's fantastic. Now I this is very impressive though. But I gotta say, so how long ago has the business been in operation?
Actually, it started all about gradually late in 2018. So it was not, then I just said, let me make a bag and see with my African fabric and see what it turned out to be. But officially came out like December 2018. I was able to do some few crafts, but originally it started officially 2019.
So
yeah.
What was the motivation, or what made you say, I have to start this business, I have to start doing this? What was it that made you say that? Like what was it, what was that thing that made you, that made you start this business? What was it?
So I'll tell you my experience. I've been to Scotland, I've been to Norway, and now in Canada. The first experience I had in Newfoundland was my neighbor saying hello to me. I'm not used to being called and say hello to. So I was surprised a neighbor is saying hello to me, which is very strange from where I'm coming from. Everybody there over the other place, they're introverts. And said, oh, nice to meet you. How are you doing? I love your clothes. Where did you get this from? So I kept looking at the people. Why are these people different? Why are they welcoming me? Why do they want to associate with me? Why are they drawn to me? And they have this smiling, welcoming face. That's where this whole idea started from. I have to be sincere to you. And people walk up to me and say, where did you get this from? You're looking lovely. I don't get such compliments. So I said to myself, how long will I keep getting this compliment? These people love this. Why not bring my culture? This is a place where my family is. I'm being welcome here. And that's why I started by bringing the fabric in. I started making little crafts. I started with purses. I started with bags, with aprons, table runners, cushion covers. And I have to be very, very sincere to you. If you're not welcomed, you wouldn't stay. You wouldn't want to even share your idea with anyone that doesn't welcome you. But these people stop by to say, where did you get this from? This is beautiful. They encourage me with their words. And I said to myself, when you are happy, you want that joy to stay. You want that happiness to stay. So is there any way I can make this stay and make it increase? And that's where the whole idea of the business started from. People walk into me in the farmer's market and they look at it. This is so colorful. Can you make this for me? So it's the joy I see in their faces. It's the excitement. So I said to myself, I love doing this before now. And these people just brought it out of me, It's just like they're encouraging me, go for it, go for it. And I said, okay, let's give it a try. And I will tell you, I didn't regret making that step. I didn't. It's one of the best decisions I've made in my life. So this is a place that my family is. This is where I've made home. And this is where it brings me joy. I would want to make that joy grow greater and greater.
Nice. So essentially, the motivation for you starting this business was as a result of people complimenting you and your attires when you initially moved in here. But you mentioned something else which I think deserves some more discussion. And you say that back in Scotland that you're not used to being spoken to, or the people back there were not that friendly. But when you came here to Newfoundland, that was different. Can you walk me through those times?
Right. I just, as I said, I've been to Scotland, I've been to Norway. I was in Scotland first, and I went to Norway. I would use Norway. They are great people. It's just that where I stayed in Norway, they are introverts. And maybe because of the language barrier. I'm brought up in English. The accent might just be different, but I speak English. I was born and brought up in English. So when you want to converse, there's a kind of a pullback. People don't want to. You want to say hello to your neighbor, and you'll be surprised. You see your neighbor at the supermarket, and he just walked past you. I said, I know him. Look at the way he just walked past me as if he doesn't know me. It's so surprising, and for you to get to, it's just like two opposite sides. I'm coming from a place people don't say hello to me, and I'm getting to a place someone said hello to me. I look back, I said, is he talking to me? And we got here around October. A few days after, there was a snow, and you see your neighbor coming out to shovel, and they help you to shovel. Well, they just brought their car and they just took off the snow away from your driveway, and you're asking, why is he doing this? Does he want something? You keep asking your question. You ask yourself so many questions. So the people here, I don't know. I didn't stop at any other province. I came here straight. Except from the airport, from the airport, I think we stopped at the province. They changed the plane. So we came here straight. This is where we came here straight to stay. It's a different ball game from where I was coming from. Okay?
Wow, that is impressive. Stay with us for a second. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with a friend.
Thank you.
Focus, say me how they try focus. Yeah, now you just scatter my thinking, and I know they know what's up. Say if I let me know, what's in your mind, and I will let you know, what's in my mind. So if you both know, what's in we define, straight to the point, make we know waste our time. Say you don't need to the book, you don't need to the phone, and you only need to let me know, you are the one you want. Say you don't need to the book, no, you don't need to the phone, and you only need to let me know. Multi shy, yo. You driving me crazy, yeah. I'm feeling so dizzy. Story, multi, baby. You driving me crazy, yeah. I'm feeling so dizzy, yeah. You like it, person, no be crying. And if you like it, person, show your sign. I know say I be play at those times, oh no. So if you let me know, what's in your mind, and I will let you know, what's in my mind. So if we both know, what's in we define, straight to the point, make we know waste our time. Say you don't need to the book, you don't need to the phone, and you only need to let me know, you are the one you want. Say you don't need to the book, no, you don't need to the phone, and you only need to let me know. You multi shy, yo. You driving me crazy, yeah. I'm feeling so dizzy. Story, multi, baby. You driving me crazy, yeah. I'm feeling so dizzy, yeah. You like the person of the drive.
One Africa. from the east to the west to the north and down to the south. Welcome back again. My name is Ikechukwe, and I'm here with Winifred Owoka, who is the CEO of Signage Clothing and Crafts. And we are Newfoundland and Labrador. Winifred, welcome to the One Africa Show.
Thank you again.
Yeah, so we are having a very fantastic discussion, and I'm very thrilled, I have to say, to have you here. But we'll go on. Just like I said earlier, Signage Clothing and Crafts. It's all about African print design. You make fabrics, you make dresses, you make jewelries, you make all kinds of stuff. It's pure talent. That's what you're doing, and I gotta say, you're doing a very good job. You're doing a very good job. So, but that brings me to to ask you this question though. You operate the business mostly out of the farmers market, which is like a very small market here in St. John's, Newfoundland, and also a little bit from your house. So, how is business going so far for you, though? How is business going so far?
I'm going to correct one impression. Farmers market is a large market.
Oh wow!
That's we have so many people. They come there to relax, and you'll be surprised the crowd that farmers market pulls. They pull people from all sectors. Like people come visiting, they want to come there to taste the meals there. The meals there, you have different dishes. So, and families, they come there to relax and they come there to have fun. So if you want to meet all people in the sector in Newfoundland, that's a good place to start from, okay? So I started with farmers markets, and which I'm proud of. Anytime, they are good and wonderful people, they have wonderful staff, they encourage you, and they help you to come out. Then from farmers markets, also I go to other craft markets. Although I sell from home, I go to Milestone at the Toby Road.
So what is Milestone? Is that a
Milestone event? Yeah, if you put the Milestone event, it's also a very popular event here in Newfoundland. And there are so many events I go to. So many. I'm going to mention Blackwoods. Also, that's at Topsay Road. I've also been to local markets that I cannot even remember their names. Because I know that there is a need here. The locals, they love. If you notice this, when you do your research, we have the elderly ones that are retired. And here, when they get retired, they try to keep their hand busy. They make clothing, they sew. The research that I've done so far, we have so many elderly people still working from home. They sew with the fabric. So after doing much research, I felt that not only farmers market, I should spread out to other local markets. So I go to other local markets, and I sell from home, and I tell people, you just let me know you're coming, and they come to pick 100% cotton fabric, which they can use for unlimited ideas. Because the fabric is already beautiful and it's 100% cotton. So you can use it for so many things and they come out beautifully well.
But that brings me to my next question though. Where do you normally get your materials from? Where do you source your materials? Where do you buy the materials you use to sew and stuff?
So the 100% cotton, yeah. I ship them all the way from Africa, from Nigeria.
Okay.
Usually.
So mostly Nigeria, that's where you ship from?
Yes. I ship them all the way from Nigeria and down here, and I use them to make crafts. And I also encourage people to buy them and use them to make crafts too.
Wow, nice. So walk me through. So you will place an order, and someone in Nigeria will receive your order, and then they will ship the material to you here in Newfoundland. Is that expensive? I know Newfoundland is an island, and people have complained about how expensive it is to ship stuff. So how do you cope with that?
It's not an easy task. I have to be sincere with you. At first, when I started, the cost of shipping is even more expensive than the fabric itself.
Really?
I have to be sincere with you. Yes, it's that bad. But it didn't discourage me, because why it didn't discourage me? Because some people come to meet me at the market and say, why is your thing so cheap? Why are you making them cheap? I just as I said, I know I'm starting. I want to be known first, and I just see the excitement all over their faces. I make little, or because if I put in the effort into the product, I'm sure it's so expensive. So, but that's not the main thing. I just as I said, this is home for me. This is home for my family. We're going nowhere. This has, brought joy to us, and why not just let them accept your culture with you? They are willing to share with you.
Yes.
So I get the fabric, I put in the cost of the shipping it, because it doesn't come straight here. It goes straight to Ontario or other provinces. Then again, you have to pay again to bring it down here.
Right.
When we decided to come straight here, that was when the COVID started. It was so difficult bringing it straight here. It was so expensive. So I started breaking it apart into bits. That's one of the way to bring it in, But still, I'm not discouraged. This is we're in the business, and so we're gonna make it work out, whichever way.
So you do have strong faith in the business and in Newfoundland. I guess I take it that way, is it?
Yes, Newfoundland is a place to call home, because they have a culture here. I don't know about any other province, just as I said, I've not been there. I can only speak of where I've been to and where I am currently. I see people here that want to associate with me, and I'm willing to share because they want to share with me. Okay? So it's home for me, and I'll make it. I'll take the joy I can get.
Yeah, right. Which makes sense. Now the question again would be, so who are your customers? Who are your clients? Are they Nigerians or are they Newfoundlanders? Like, who is the typical customer that buys from Signage Clothing and Crafts?
I'll tell you, my major customers are the locals here. We also have, people from Nigerians and other Africans are coming to buy from me. I won't say that they don't. But I would say the locals here, when they see the fabric, they say, oh, this is so beautiful. Because if you're used to something, sometimes you might not know the quality and the words. Back home, we're already used to seeing it. So for us, it's just normal. It's just casual. But for people that don't see it as a day-to-day thing, they see it like something new. It's bright, it's lovely, and they're excited about it. You need to see the excitement in their faces when they buy this product. So the locals here, there is market in here. They are willing to buy. They want to share in your culture. They're ready to spend to make you happy too. So the locals here are the main target market. Even though Africans do buy, but I have to tell you, the locals are the main target.
But to break it down, though, the locals, so are they normally younger people or older people, or like what age are we talking about here?
We're talking about all, because in the kind of product we sell, we try to bring the product to every age sector. We have the purses, which is makeup purses for the young generation. We have the fanny pack, where they can put on their waist during summer and make themselves happy. We have shopping bags for the middle age, that they are no longer, you go for shopping. Nowadays, we don't use the plastic bag. We have reusable shopping bag. And we also have the fabric, where the elderly ones, they come to buy it for quilting.
Okay.
To quilt, because it's 100% cotton. You can wash the cotton. And it's very, very good and of good quality. So the way we make the product, let it cut across every sector. So when they come to the stand, there is something for someone. There is something for someone. We have hairband. We have hair ruffles for children. So when they come, oh, Mom, I want this. So there is something for someone. Everybody in the local is important. And because they like it, it goes round and it makes you happy,
Right. So, but someone hearing this now would think immediately. surely there has to be competitors. Who do you have any competitors? Like, who are they? Are they people who are in the same market as you, who who sells the same stuff as you do?
I would say they are competitors when it comes to bags, fabric face masks, fabric, anything you can think of. There is nobody that wouldn't have a competitor. They are always there. But you see what? Everybody is special. No two item is the same. Okay? I want them to grow. I also would love to grow. Just, I'm not in to push anybody out of the market. Just as I said, I see the joy. Even me, when I go to Walmart, Sobeys, and I see the face mask, because I recognize my fabric anywhere. You know your handwork anywhere. I see them, they walk past me, and I smile. I go to Costco, and I see the face masks on people, and I see like fanny packs on people. I just smile. So for me, it's not about the competition, because there is space to accommodate everyone. Just stay in your space and glow and shine. The other person is not going to outshine you. The other person too is in their own space. They are shining. So we all shine together. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's fair enough. So just to be clear, you're telling me that you're not the only one in this business. There are other people in this business, same as you, though.
Yeah, there are other people. There are other people in the business. The only thing I would say there might be a difference is that because I use fabric from back home, Nigeria. There are other people using fabric here, okay, that it's made in Newfoundland or maybe from any other country, just as I said. But the uniqueness in mine is because the vibrancy of the color. The African color comes with this great uniqueness, and the colors it speaks to you. If a regular apron that could be used with a fabric here, and if you use the African fabric to make an apron, it's so beautiful. That is what this is all about. Bringing uniqueness to everyday life. Don't make it look just normal. Make it exciting. Let people see it and ask you, where did you get this from? That's just what it's all about.
Right. Yeah, which is interesting. I guess it makes a lot of sense. Now, what are the prospects of a business like yours in Newfoundland? What are the prospects for a business like yours? Do you think that there will still be need for signage, clothing, and crafts in the future, like in the 5 years time? Do you essentially what I'm saying is, where do you see the business going into the future?
It's growing. I know many things happened during this pandemic. So many businesses fell apart. But for me, I'm sad that those things happen to those businesses, because if there's no businesses, people wouldn't come into the province. You wouldn't have these investors. You wouldn't have what they call it, tourists visiting. You remember how the downtown used to be so busy before you see the big ferry and all that. Yeah, which is not good for us. I see this business as a business that glows even during the pandemic, because cotton fabric is very important. You use it for your everyday life. You use it for your kitchen towels. You can use it for your table runners. You can use it for your tablecloth. The need is there. It's never going to go away. It's our day-to-day things we use. So it's just like the way you drink water. It's never going to go away. The need is there. So I see it growing. I see it expanding. I see it, the future for it, it's very, very high, as in it's going places because the need is there. Okay? So we are ready. And I just want you to note this down, that when next you call me for an interview, you're going to remember I said this.
So,
okay? Because the people here are ready to associate, they're ready to buy, and they're ready to mingle with our fabric, which is good.
Right.
For me.
So is signage clothing and crafts, is that going to be the next Zara or the next big store? Should we expect that?
It's gonna be more than Zara.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the truth. It's gonna be known worldwide.
Right.
It might sound like a joke because so many things are rolling out, which I discussed with you at the beginning of the interview. So many things are coming up. Okay. And I know that when you see those things, we're bringing up our website, we're bringing so many things. I don't want to say much so that I don't take us off the discussion for today. But
so we should essentially expect, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, look out for signage, clothing and crafts.
Yeah. More good things ahead for signage, clothing and crafts.
Yeah.
So finally, this interview today we're having here it's a special program. It's a Black History Month, and we are having this special program, and we are happy to have you here, Winifred. My final question here is this: I've heard you say something. I've heard you say that look forward to signage clothing go on places, and all that stuff, which is really good. The question now would be, what is your advice to someone who might be looking up to you, who might in 5 years' time have seen how far you've gone, and what is your advice to them, especially Black entrepreneurs? What is your advice to people like that who might want an advice from you? What would you say to them?
Okay, I would say to Black entrepreneurs out there, don't ever bring yourself too low. Don't say that you don't have any value or anything you cannot offer. Look inside of you. There is something, there's a gift that God placed in everyone. Some people like to talk, some people like to read, some people like to make crafts. Start from whatever you have. Even though you have your education. I personally have a diploma in accountancy and I have bachelor's in business administration. In the UK, I got that degree there. I have 2 degrees, that's in the diploma and the BSc, bachelor's. But this is something totally different out of what I studied in school. But I need to let you know that the school is just there to prepare you so that you can speak. You can stand and talk to people. Learn a craft, no matter how small it is. Start with what you have. Don't wait for something big. When I started at the farmer's market, I couldn't afford a stand. I couldn't. I had to find a way to just juggle in and just say, please, can you help me? And they helped. I have to be sincere with you. Start from whatever you have in your little home. Make it grow. Make it grow. If you have to borrow, don't borrow too much. Just little so that you can pay back. And continue with what you have and make it expand so that you don't put yourself in an uncomfortable situation that you will not be able to pay back. Okay? Start with what you have, even though you have the education qualification. This is just by the side. Once it grows very big, you can decide to work for yourself, not for anyone. We need more of this organization here to make Newfoundland bigger so that people can come and tourists will say, oh, have you been to Newfoundland? Have you heard of this store in Newfoundland? They go there to buy souvenirs. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to build this place because for us, this is home. We go nowhere. Okay? You make your home a place where you'll be happy.
Perfect. I appreciate you being here today. It has been a very wonderful chat with you. Even though it's a 30-minute chat, but I do appreciate the chat with you. There's so much more we could say, but in the interest of time, we'll have to end this interview. Once more again, thank you very much for being here with me, and it was a pleasure having you.
You too. Thank you too for having me. Anytime.
water you go use. To bá fẹ́ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀, omi ló máa lò. If you want cook soup, na water you go use. Torí bá ń gbóná omi lẹ̀rọ rẹ o. If your head dey hot, na water go cool am. Tọmọ bá ń dàgbà, omi ló máa lò. If your child dey grow, na water him go use. If water kill your child, na water you go use. Tómi bá pamọ́ ẹ̀ o, omi náà ló máa lò. Kò sóhun tó lè ṣe kó o má lómi o. Nothing without water. Kò sóhun tó lè ṣe kó o má lómi o. Omi yóò lọ́ọ̀ta o. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. Omi yóò lọ́ọ̀ta o. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. If you fight them unless you wonder. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. I say water no get enemy. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. If you fight them unless you wonder. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. Omi yóò lọ́ọ̀ta o. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. At the talk of black man power. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. At the talk of black power, I say. Iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. I say water no get enemy. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. If you fight them unless you won't die. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. I say water no get enemy. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. I say water no get enemy. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. Omi yóò lọ́ọ̀ta o. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni. Omi yóò lọ́ọ̀ta o. Water, iná gẹ́gẹ́ ni.
see as you fresh, yo. Now only monkey go say you no fine, Bella. Fire baby, buru biale. Krikata, mama, dance for mommy and dada. Don't be shy to show brother. What in your waist you can cause you. Oh krikata, mama, ifebu walupu mama. Onyeza beno walupu, watana wakala bishi. Shake you, mama. Oh, yeah, rock, mama. Oh, yeah, walk, mama. One girl, yale. Woo. Lilo yo. Lilo to bini da kabalo. Chérie nanga bouge bien. Nane na bini da kabalo. Chérie nanga bini da kabula bien. Allez, bengago, sakatanago. Double mon esprit. Yalelo, yamone nalela, makamo yalelo. Krikata, mama, dance for mommy and dada. Don't be shy to show brother. What in your waist you can cause. Krikata, mama, ifebu walupu mama. Onyeza benu walupu, watana wakala bishi. Yale. Shake you, mama. Oh, yeah, rock, mama. Oh, yeah, rock, mama. One get one more.
Oh, yeah, nyata. Mwasiki dogo kanya, nyata. Oh, yeah, mata. Shika kidogo kama, mata.
Mtoto kaulilia, ameutaka. Emwete atasimulia, ukimkata.
Atashika ba,
kushoto kulia.
Ashi,
kushoto kulia.
shika vyote.
Kushoto kulia.
Ashi,
kushoto kulia.
Shi.
Krikata, mama, I dance for mommy and dada. Don't be shy to show brother. What you want, you can cause you. Krikata, mama, I dance for mama and papa. Na kama kiringa chanana, tapata mwingine baadaye. Yale. One